walked in the shelter already knowing what it wanted to be, and more importantly, what it wanted to imitate. And this is a movie that clearly sees itself in the shadow of Jason Bourne films, but through a very tired lens. It plays like a geriatric bark and bin version of that formula, the kind of movie you can already picture sitting in the bottom of a Walmart DVD rack at the end of the year. The problem is not that it's familiar. The problem is that it forgets the one thing those movies understood. You still need movement. You still need action. You still need momentum. And Shelter somehow manages to make an action film where almost nothing happens. And when you go into a Jason Statham movie, especially at this point of his career, there is a basic agreement in place. You are not there for complexity. You're not there for psychological depth. You are there to watch capable presence move through danger with clarity and force. Recent films like Working Man were ridiculous, but at least they understood the assignment. Beehive was absurd, but it was entertaining. You could feel the movie having fun with itself. And Shelter removes all of that. The film wants to be brooding and sincere. It wants seriousness without exaggeration. It wants emotional grounding. That choice would be fine if the movie had anything underneath it. Instead, it drains the energy out of the genre entirely. The pacing is sluggish almost immediately. Scenes linger without tension. The setup drags on long enough that you start waiting for the movie to wake up. And it never really does. For something positioned as an action thriller, the action is almost non-existent. And when it finally arrives, it is uninspired and brief. There is no sense of build, no escalation, no creativity in how these moments are staged. The sequences feel like obligations rather than highlights, and when you reach them, you realize there's nothing to enjoy. No choreograph worth noting, no clever staging, no sense of release. That is when it becomes clear that this movie was already past the point of being fun. And honestly, it may never have reached it in the first place. And what remains is one of the most generic story frameworks imaginable. A solitary older man, a young girl who needs protection, a softening arc that arrives right on schedule. And the movie treats this as if the structure alone should carry emotional meaning. It does not. The relationship never deepens beyond the outline. You are told what it represents instead of being shown why it matters. And the dialogue does not help. It is filled with stock lines that sound copied and pasted from better versions of this story. Characters speak in cliches. Conversations exist to move information along, not to express thought or personality. Nothing feels lived in. At times, it honestly feels like someone dared the production to make an action movie as dull as possible. Like the goal was not failure, but indifference. There is no personality in how these scenes are written or staged, and everything moves forward because it has to, not because it wants to. And there's also a very noticeable sense of limitation hanging over the entire film. You can feel the budget. You can feel the schedule. You can feel how quickly this was likely put together. And that becomes especially obvious with Bill Nighy. His appearance does not feel like a role. It feels like a day rate, like he was brought in, filmed quickly, and sent on his way. The scene carries no impact and no connection, and to a larger story, it feels transactional. Those moments pull you out of the movie because they remind you how assembled this all feels. And by the time the film reaches its later sections, it starts trying to raise the stakes, but it's too late. There has been no groundwork, no tension to build on, no reasons to care how things resolve. The outcomes feel obvious, the danger feels theoretical, and the emotional beats land with a thud because nothing has been earned. And walking out of the theater, the audience reaction was immediate. People dismissing it without hesitation, not arguing about it, not debating what worked, just writing it off. That response felt earned. I do not enjoy calling films cash grabs, but this one makes it hard to avoid that label. There is no sense of effort here, no curiosity, no attempt to elevate familiar material. It feels like a movie made to exist rather than a movie made to engage. It forgets why people show up for this kind of movie in the first place. And I walked in hoping at least to have some fun. And I walked out wondering how an action movie managed to be so lifeless. Appreciate you going on this film journey with me, and as always, be real.
Look at you. No country, no badge. You're gone.
Now gone. Unshackled.